So we're going to get right into this one. As far as things go with China, the many problems that it faces, it comes down to many facts. It comes from a lack of trust that China has now gained due to the many things that it has done, and also high levels of corruption and incapability within the Chinese government and military. So, as far as things go with the things that China has done to garner such a reputation and such a hate from many people around the world, well, the Chinese government has, its actions in Hong Kong, Tibet, Xinjiang, and the Mongols in its regions and its provinces that it controls, its abuse against these populations, and also Falun Gong practitioners, and so on and so forth. Its clear organ harvesting. Tactics, and also the many suppressions and genocide that is and has committed, has left deep scars of mistrust and misguidance within the Chinese government. Also, its willingness and ability to spend large amounts of money within countries who then can't pay it back because they're left in the debt of China, and which have to cough up basically things to give back to China, such as ports and stuff like that. Same tactic as the Portuguese and the British did when it came down to trade and ease of access. Alongside the mistrust with China comes its stealing of Western products, its so forth and so on hacks, and its claims to territory outside of its bounds, such as in India, with Kashmir and even northern India and stuff like that, Taiwan, which is a country, and I will continue to say it is a country, and China can go fuck itself when it says it isn't a country. It is a country. It has never been owned by the People's Republic of China. It has never come under the control of the People's Republic of China. It has always been independent from the People's Republic of China. And also its claims to Russian land, which also festers a deep distrust between Russia and China. That's another thing you've got to remember. Russia has some land that the Chinese used to own, and the Chinese government would love to get it back, especially since it has key ports along that coastline. Alongside that, it also has interests in Central Asia, which come down to the Belt and Road Initiative, which also gets in the way of Russia's plans and interferes in Russia's spheres of influence. Alongside this, obviously, there's Japan and South Korea and so on and so forth, which America and the Western allies love to protect, and China's encroachment into the South China Sea and along the island chain that goes around to Japan is a problem for the West, because once they get past there, they keep going. And it also allows for a defensive barrier and control of trade within the region. And that's why we also see unlikely allies from places like Vietnam and Philippines and Indonesia and Japan and Taiwan and South Korea. They all ally with the West for a certain reason. And if America wished to just, or even the West in general, wished to do more, then it would. But sadly, it seems they're a bit more restrained than they should be. As far as Africa goes, well, again, the Belt and Road Initiative allows for China to invest into these nations, and the problem it's got here is, even though it's doing this, it is spending lots of money, and that can lead a problem to the West, but it also means that these countries have to cough up something in return eventually. China isn't going to sit there and not get anything in return. It can build up infrastructure and stuff, but it'll want resources, and it gets resources. And the thing is, China has a knack for being called the place where all the cheap goods come from, because it floods the market with cheap goods, and that basically means it controls a larger portion of the market, essentially, because cheap and quick, easy made goods that ain't reliable to an extent are a thing, and it is trying to push away from that. Trying to is the big quotations there. Alongside that, it also had the pandemic that hit, and that left a large amount of distrust with China. In fact, I think that spurred on a large amount of hatred towards the Communist Party. And I must make a distinction here. The people within the country are not the people who we go after. It is the Communist Party. The party and the army, the members of them two things, or the military, sorry, are the things that I criticise wholesale, because these are the controlling factors of the Chinese nation, and they're what drive its policies. And I guess this is a good segue to go into corruption. So corruption within China is rampant. It is really bad. It goes through all parts of life. Corruption is something that happens a lot, a very lot, and it's funny because many people in China have been arrested, killed for corruption, and you can see it most clearly within the infrastructure and the bribery that goes on within the infrastructure. And when they build buildings and other infrastructure plans, they will bribe people so to clear it, basically, to say that it is up to standard even though it isn't, and then that leads to problems further down the line as it begins to crumble. And this is why China has a large infrastructure problem, and that's why you can find videos of buildings swaying or leaks from pipes and other things like that, and bridges collapsing and people being stuck on glass bridges. If you didn't remember that one's funny. A guy got stuck on a glass bridge because part of it collapsed. I'm pretty sure he survived. I hope he survived. And then, then we come to the inexperience of the army. So the army itself, though massive and large, is largely inexperienced. And that's funny because China, you'd think, could have a really good army, but I'm pretty sure you can find a lot of videos that have been leaked out where the Chinese army is just highly inexperienced and highly incompetent in what it does. And it's no fault of the people serving in the army. It's just the fault of the people who lead and control what happens within the army, not giving them the proper practice that they need. But China, what are you going to do? They cut corners, and it's the Chinese government for you. What else is there? I've got to go through the list because it's a long, long list. Well, let's think. Yes, there's the aging population. The aging population, which is a problem because there's also a lack of population growth. And that's why they're moving from 2 to 3 children policy, I believe, or a 3-child policy. Because an aging population means that there isn't going to be enough young people within the country to look after the older people or to take over the jobs. That's why China's in a desperate race to make the lower, easier jobs automatic or fully automated, so it can replace its jobs where the people right now may end up retiring from and not getting any replacements in with machines that will cover it. And this is just a race, but then I believe they will end up accomplishing this. This is not something that's extremely hard. It's just a short-term problem, though an aging population is a problem, and the lack of growth isn't really a problem for China due to the fact that they have such a massive population. But again, they are seeing small problems that may appear in this, and that's why they're upping their child policy so that they can fill in the gaps essentially after a while. So yeah, these are just some of the problems that China has and China faces, and though I do not see in the foreseeable future unless China just completely crumbles, which is possibility with the amount of corruption, incompetence and other things that leads the nation, it's probably going to become a global power within the old world. I don't know if it will overthrow the American hegemon, but it will become a global power. It already is a global power, but will it dominate the old world completely? Maybe. It just depends what America and the Western allies do, essentially. But yeah, that's the video. That's the end of this video. Also, this should be where the new outro-ish plays, I think. Hopefully you enjoy it. It's not great, but it's something I just cooked up. Anyway, bye.